Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I have to tell you that the Australian Government Department of Home Affairs is a complete and utter disgrace. Yeah, I'm calling out my own government here. Complete and utter disgrace. And I'll explain to you why. A South African mother who was put through a living nightmare by a rapist who had a gun in her children's head to force her into sex has pleaded for help after her family were denied asylum in Australia. They were denied asylum in Australia. Remember that woman who the rapist was trying to rape her daughter and she said, no, do me, leave my daughter alone. And he did that and forced the daughter to watch. I covered this just a few days ago. But now it's come out that that family has applied for asylum in Australia and it's been denied. That is a complete disgrace. I'm taking this up with a couple of the political parties here in Australia, which are, how can I put it? Guess right-leaning. It's such a shame that Fraser Anning's party didn't get up. Anyway, the story says Nikki, 45, was raped in front of her children by a 32-year-old Sebenzile Zamani. Remember that video I had, The Face of Evil? That's the one I'm talking about. Who also sexually molested her daughter after shooting his way into the Eastern Cape farmhouse. After surviving the horrific ordeal, Nikki and her family were planning to move to Australia to set up a farm, but the humanitarian visas were rejected. That is just crazy. The mother of three said her family began dreaming of a new life when Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton said he was considering a special refugee status for South Africans who had been persecuted. She said those dreams have now been destroyed. It was a glimmer of hope, but it is now concerning that nothing has ever come of it, she said. I speak for thousands of South African farmers. We need a lifeline. The violence here is escalating. Nikki and her husband, Hayne, 44, have been forced out of their farmhouse. Their three children, aged 10, 14 and 16, have been too terrified to return. And who can blame them? You know, this is what these black thugs do. They make it absolutely impossible for farmers to go and stay on their farms so they can just go and squat and take it over. It is absolutely extraordinary. It wouldn't be allowed in any other country in the world. But when you have the ANC government, which is corrupt as hell, anything goes. It's a gangster state. A spokesman from the Department of Home Affairs said the department does not comment on individual cases. Well, guess what, assholes? The Australian Department of Home Affairs, you can pog my horn too, okay? I am absolutely disgusted in you guys. How can you reject an application like this? You are just a disgrace. I bet it's full of friggin' greenies. You know, the guys who want lesbians, queers, all those weird types of people to pour into Australia and just destroy the society. And on top of that, they want all the other groups, and I'm not going to name them because YouTube will probably pull this video down if I do, but I think you know who I'm talking about. They will remain nameless, but they're the ones who apparently are flooding into Australia, and a lot of them are criminals, bad ones. And I have evidence of that. And yet here you have a family who've been totally persecuted, and they're not going to give asylum to them. This is just absolutely ridiculous. All applications are considered on a case-by-case basis against relevant legislative criteria. As humanitarian cases can be complex from the decision-making perspective, applications can take an extended period to resolve. What they're actually saying is, these are the friggin' racist whites. We don't want them. These are the friggin' Australian Greens who probably run that department. It is just absolutely disgusting. I cannot believe that they would reject asylum to that family. That is absolutely disgusting. And as I say, I have taken this up with a couple of the political parties here in Australia. And I'm going to make sure this is not the end of the story. Campaign group AfriForum said Afrikaner and European farmers were under daily attack in the country. About 22 farmers had been murdered in South Africa this year, and 195 farms have been attacked. In recent years, between 55 and 75 farmers are brutally murdered every year, and they are tortured. This is not a normal crime. These are savages. They come right out of the horror stories that you cannot believe. You know, it is absolutely shocking. And that face of evil in my earlier video really sums up what a piece of shit some of these guys are. It's absolutely disgusting. Most of the attacks involve horrific torture, including farmers being burned with hot irons, boiling water poured over their heads and body, the use of power tools, and gang rape before murder. Now, you know what these guys do with the power tools is they drill them into people's eyes. Just even think of that. Think of someone coming up and getting a power tool and just drilling your eye out. I mean, that's the nature of these disgusting, despicable excuses of human beings who come in and target people who are totally innocent and they just wanted to get on with their lives. And the Australian government is saying to them, F you. That's not on, guys. That does not work, does not compute, believe me. The South African government insists the chief motive was robbery and that it was not a specific attack on whites or farmers, but that they are vulnerable and easy targets due to their remoteness. All right, so let's say that's true. Then what sort of people go and perpetrate these type of torturous crimes against innocent people? Does that say something about the ruling class in South Africa? It reflects very, very badly on it because, you know, I have never heard ever of a white person doing this sort of shit to a black person. The black on white crime in South Africa is extreme. And the torturous methods they use are just disgusting. You know, someone said to me, or several people have said to me on this channel that, you know, please don't use the word animals because that's too good for them. And I agree. These guys who go and do these acts are not animals. They are depraved savages. They are not human. They're evil. They stink of evil. They just oh God. Mr. Dutton had claimed, and this is last year, white South Africans needed special attention and asked his department to accept and consider applications from South Africans in July last year. There you go, in July last year. This came after a controversial push from Liberal MPs for an intake of up to 10,000 persecuted South Africans. It's not just persecuted now, guys, it's extreme persecution. And this is by an ANC government that have got an agenda on their hands, and that genocide, that agenda is going to end in genocide. And believe me, these videos will record how these governments just looked the other way and ignored what's going on in South Africa. And they will be hanging their heads in shame. And I will be going after them. Even if I'm in my 90s, I'll be going after these bastards. It's absolutely sick. It's depraved. It's just, it's political correctness gone mad. If people are being persecuted, regardless of whether it's because of the religion or the color of their skin or whatever, we need to provide assistance where we can, he told 2GB Radio in March last year. That's Peter Dutton. People make the point on occasion that we're too generous, but in this circumstance, we do have to look at the persecution that's taking place. We have a huge South African expat community within Australia. Yes, you do! And if I can wake that friggin' sleeping South African community up to how this Australian government is just ignoring the plight of their fellow South Africans still struggling to eke out an existence in South Africa, my God, I'm going to do it. South Africans work hard. They integrate well into Australian society. They contribute and make us a better country. And they're the sort of migrants that we want to bring into our country. But you've got these loony lefty greenies, the LGBTQs, you know, the ones who are involved in teaching kids sex education at primary school. They're completely off the rails. They are evil, and they have totally infiltrated the Australian Home Affairs. And I am disgusted. Right now I'm feeling disgraced to be an Australian. But I am going to be taking this to people I know. I mean, this is just shocking that this asylum case has been rejected. It is just shocking in the extreme. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell to get the updates. And have a good day. And just believe me, I'm on your side. Okay?